Hello and welcome to Freddy's Flight Reviews. Today I'm flying from Oslo Gardermoen to London Gatwick via Stavanger with Norwegian, my favourite budget airline. I'll explain why later. It was cold and snowy outside with temperatures going as low as minus 10 degrees Celsius, so I quickly headed inside Oslo's beautiful main terminal. The architecture here is amazing and one of the most striking airports I've been to, especially impressive considering the relatively low passenger numbers that pass through, with just under 30 million passengers in 2019. For comparison, Gatwick Airport had over 45 million passengers in 2019. But Gatwick feels like a shed, whilst Oslo feels more like an opera house. Anyway, today's flight is a quick 45-minute hop to Stavanger, with a 1-hour layover before the final 2-hour flight to London Gatwick. In total, this flight cost me just £25. It would have been £45, but I went through booking.com for a £20 discount. Usually I would recommend booking directly with the airline, but I wanted to use a voucher. My flight out here had been direct with Norse Atlantic Airways and a Boeing 787, so click the link in the description or on screen to check that out. It had been snowing in Oslo, so I was worried about delays, but thankfully the Norwegians are much better with the snow than the British. Our plane arrived on time, an 11.5-year-old Boeing 737-800 registered LNDYU. After about 30 minutes, it had been turned around and we were ready to board. We didn't have the privilege of a sky bridge today though, so I had to walk through the snow, which was probably annoying for the cabin crew, as people brought snow onto the plane, soaking the carpet around the entrance. The aircraft has a unique looking livery, advertising Norwegian's much praised in-flight Wi-Fi. In my experience though, it's pretty terrible, often cutting out or not working at all. I remember I took a flight with them back in 2015 where I watched YouTube videos the whole flight for free. They've since restricted it to just 15 minutes of low-speed Wi-Fi for free, and if you want higher speeds you'll have to pay. So it's a shame they've locked it behind a paywall nowadays when it used to be so good in the past. Today I couldn't get Wi-Fi to work at all on my first flight. The second flight I was able to send a few texts, but it was too slow for anything else. I would say the seats are adequate as far as budget airlines go, comfier than British Airways in my opinion, who are usually my first choice for European flights, so no complaints about the cabin so far. And personally, I find Norwegian's red and navy style a lot more appealing than the garish Ryanair and EasyJet. As it was so cold, we had to stop at the de-icing stand before takeoff. I'm sure it's a very mundane thing for many watching this video, but this is my first time seeing a plane de-iced, so I was excited. It usually doesn't get cold enough to need it in the UK, and if it is cold enough, they'll probably just cancel the flight. after a short and uneventful flight, we arrive in Stavanger. It's a pretty small airport, but surprisingly nice, clean and modern with a few shops and cafes. And for domestic flights at least, they don't make a distinction between departure and arrival zones. So I didn't need to pass through any connection area, just passport control for non-Schengen flights. The single lounge had already closed, unfortunately, so after buying a few Norwegian souvenirs, Torfisk and Aquavit, a potent combo, I headed through passport control to the gate. I got a much better shot of the seats on this flight, and again, I prefer the seats on Norwegian to a lot of other budget airlines. They're comfy and the soft leather even feels a little luxe. My seat was 18A, positioned just on the rear wing. I was in a hurry though, so I didn't catch the plane reg, but it felt clean and newish. And most importantly, I bought some Freya Milkish Chocolada to keep me going. The best chocolate in the world, no competition. The flight departed on time and we headed to the de-icing stand again before takeoff.
Land via the London Gatwick Takeoff will be happening in 10 minutes or so. Welcome to London Gatwick International Airport, where we have landed 5 minutes ahead of schedule. Please do not sit with your seatbelt fastened and keep the airline emergency exits clear from all hand baggage until the aircraft has come to complete stop and the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off.
Arriving at Gatwick, they were actually de-icing planes here too. Chilly. So overall, I had a pretty great experience with Norwegian today. No delays despite the snowy weather, a smooth transfer and 2 comfy flights. I do wish they'd improved the Wi-Fi though, as it seems to have gone downhill since I first flew Norwegian way back in 2015. I'm probably biased, as my first solo flight was with Norwegian, and I just love Norway in general. But I'll happily fly Norwegian again given their usually low price and reliable service. I'll also release a video comparing Norwegian with Norse Atlantic, as well as a plane spotting video at London City in the coming weeks. So please like and subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.